Meet Sandra. She's 63 years old. She lives in Wisconsin. She has $340,000 saved in a high-yield savings account, earning 4.2% a year. Every month, her balance goes up. She feels responsible. She feels prepared. But she has never, not once, asked the question that changes everything. How long will it take this money to actually double? Most people would guess 7, maybe 10 years. The real answer, once you account for what retirement actually does to your money, is closer to 90. Sandra has no idea, and neither do most people watching this right now. Today, I'm going to show you the rule of 72, the 5-second math trick that reveals exactly how fast your money is really growing. But more importantly, I'm going to show you the retirement version, the one that accounts for inflation, taxes, and the forces that quietly eat a retiree's money alive. By the end of this video, you will be able to run your own number in under a minute and know exactly what to do if the answer makes you uncomfortable. And here's the part most videos skip. The math is simple, but what you actually divide by for a retiree is very different from the number on your statement. Quick note, I'm not a financial advisor or a government employee. Everything here is for educational purposes only. For your specific situation, always check with a qualified professional. The formula that fits on a napkin. The rule of 72 is simple. Take any annual rate of return, divide it into 72. The answer is how many years your money doubles. Let me show you what this formula reveals across 5 different places your money could sit right now. The national average savings account rate today is just 0.39%. 72 divided by 0.39 equals 185 years. That is not a savings account. That is a waiting room. A top high-yield savings account at 4.2% gives you a doubling time of 17 years. A 10-year U.S. Treasury at 4.4% is almost identical, 16.4 years. The S&P 500 at its long-term average of 10% doubles money every 7.2 years. An SCHD, one of the most popular dividend ETFs in the country, has returned 12.96% annually since launch. 72 divided by 13 equals 5.5 years. That is 3 full doublings in the same window where the savings account completes 1.
That 17-year number for Sandra's savings account is not the real number, not even close. There are 2 forces working against her that this formula doesn't show. And once you see them, you will never look at a savings statement the same way again. Now you know how the rule of 72 works in its textbook form, but there is a problem, and it is the one most people have never once calculated. Here is what I mean. The 2 silent thieves. The rule of 72 in its textbook form gives you the nominal doubling time. Nominal means before inflation, before taxes. For a retiree, those 2 words change everything. Let me walk you through Sandra's real math, step by step. Step 1. Sandra's HYSA advertises 4.2% APY. That is her starting rate. Step 2. Savings account interest is taxed as ordinary income. In the 24% federal bracket, she keeps 76 cents of every dollar earned. That brings her rate to 3.19%. Step 3. Subtract inflation. The Consumer Price Index is running at 2.4% as of February 2026. That leaves Sandra with a real return of just 0.79%. Step 4. Divide 72 by 0.79. Sandra's real doubling time, 91 years. She would need to live to age 154. Here's the myth. A 4% savings rate means your money is growing. Here's the truth. After inflation and taxes, that 4% becomes less than 1%. Your money is moving. It is not growing. And there is one more force that hits retirees hardest. Healthcare inflation runs roughly 1.7 percentage points above general inflation every year. At 4.5%, medical costs double every 16 years. Fidelity estimates a couple retiring today will spend $345,000 on healthcare over their retirement. That same estimate was $80,000 in 2002. The inflation Sandra sees on her statement is not the inflation she lives. Now you know that inflation and taxes stretch the doubling clock far beyond the raw number. But here's where it gets retirement specific, because once you start withdrawing, the math changes completely. The retirement trap the formula doesn't show. There is a third force the Rule of 72 has no variable for. The formula assumes uninterrupted compounding. Money goes in, it grows, nobody touches it. Retirement breaks that assumption in two specific ways. Here's the most dramatic one. Two people each start with $100,000. Both earn the same 4% average return over 20 years. Both withdraw $5,000 every year. The only difference when the market drops. Portfolio A hits a bear market in years 1 and 2, right at the start. Portfolio A ends 20 years with $35,889. Portfolio B hits the same bear market in years 18 and 19, near the end. Portfolio B ends the same 20 years with $105,944. Same start, same return, same withdrawals, a $70,055 difference from sequence. Wade Pfau's research confirms why. 77% of a retirement portfolio's final outcome is determined by returns in just the first 10 years of retirement. The first 10. After that, the math is largely decided. Now, here is the second force, required minimum distributions. Starting at age 73, the IRS forces you to withdraw a rising percentage of your retirement accounts every year, no matter what the market is doing. At age 73, the forced withdrawal rate is 3.77%. At a 7% return, your effective compounding rate after the RMD is still positive, about 3.23%. You are still growing. By age 80, the forced rate rises to 4.95%. Effective growth, just 2.05%. By age 85, the forced rate is 6.25%. Effective growth, only 0.75%, nearly flat. And at age 90, the forced rate reaches 8.2%. At a 7% return, your portfolio is now shrinking by 1.2% per year, every single year. The Rule of 72 no longer applies. The account is in reverse. Before I show you what solves this, drop a comment right now. Are you still in the savings phase, or have you already started drawing from your portfolio? I read every single one. Most people respond to all of this in one of two ways. They take on more risk than they are comfortable with, or they pull back into cash and let inflation win quietly. But there is a third path, the doubling engines built for retirement. Sandra's problem is not the amount she saved. Her problem is that she is using an accumulation tool, a savings account, to fight a distribution battle. Let me show you 3 tools that are actually built for this job. First, SCHD, current dividend yield, 3.41%. 10-year annualized total return, approximately 12%. Expense ratio, just 0.06%. 72 divided by 12 equals 6.0 years to double. Second, DGRO. Dividend yield, 1.96%. 10-year return, 12.7%. Expense ratio, 0.08%. Doubling time, 5.7 years. Third, VIG. Dividend yield, 1.59%. 10-year return, 13.3%. Expense ratio, 0.05%. All 3 expense ratios are under 0.10%. Nearly every dollar of return stays in your account. Now compare those to the top HYSA at 4.2%. Nominal doubling time, 17 years.
Real doubling time after inflation and taxes, 91 years. Next to 5.4 to 6 years, that number tells the whole story. And here's a tax advantage most people never factor in. Savings account interest is taxed as ordinary income, up to 37%. Qualified dividends from these ETFs are taxed at 0%, 15%, or 20%. For a retired couple earning under $98,900 combined, the federal tax on qualified dividends is 0. That single difference can add 2 to 3 percentage points to your real annual return. Now let's see what this means for Sandra. She put 60% of her $340,000, that's $204,000, into dividend growth ETFs. She keeps 40% in her HYSA as a 2-year income buffer, so she never has to sell shares during a downturn. At year 0, age 63, her equity portfolio sits at $204,000 and generates about $6,956 in annual dividend income. At year 7.2, age 70, the portfolio completes its first doubling, value $408,000. Annual dividend income, $13,912. 0 additional contributions, 0.
The rule of 72 shows you the math. Real returns show you the truth. And the truth is, a savings account has a ticking clock, and dividend growth is the only thing that runs faster. Run your number today. Sandra now has a number, not a hope, not a feeling, a number she can check and act on. And so do you. Here is how to run your real doubling time in the next 15 minutes. Step 1. Find your rate of return. Look at your most recent account statement and use the APY shown. Step 2. Subtract your inflation estimate. Use 2.5% to 3% to stay conservative. Step 3. Subtract your tax drag. Savings interest at the 24% bracket, multiply your rate by 0.76. Qualified dividends in a Roth IRA, 0 drag. Step 4, divide 72 by what remains. That is your real doubling time. If it is longer than your years in retirement, the mix needs to change. Smart retirees do not ignore that number. They use it. If you know someone sitting in a savings account who has never run this calculation, share this video with them right now. It could be the most valuable 15 minutes they spend this year. Here is my question for you. Have you ever calculated your real doubling time after inflation and taxes? Drop your number in the comments. I read every single one. If you're building retirement income and want to stay ahead of exactly this kind of math, subscribe to Dividend Hustle. This is what we do here. And in the next video, I will show you exactly how SCHD's March 2026 reconstitution changes the income math for everyone already holding it. You will not want to miss it.